don't know if I really love this decision.
Over the middle, got his man, and look at him go! Jalen Waddle for the touchdown!
Welcome to Inside Leverage, your gateway to the fascinating realm of the Miami Dolphins. Join us as we delve deep into the team's dynamic Super Bowl journey. We invite you to share your most scorching takes, unwind, and relish in our captivating experience.
Blocked by Armstead. Going, he's got him! He's got him! Tyreek Hill! And the Dolphins have come back!
A big play on the first one! Home run! Play one! To the house! What a start for the Dolphins!
It's Inside Leverage. We always gonna put on the show, baby. That's what we do.
Cat Crave, how you doing, man? Welcome. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to the game on Sunday. I wish I was.
Yeah. You got to come through one of these games next time for sure for South Florida, man. Good reason to come through next time, man. But appreciate you for having for coming through and talk football with us, man. If you like, introduce yourself to the space and just give us a little bit about yourself and about how did you become a Panthers fan?
My name's Dean Jones. I'm the editor at Cat Crave, and I also cover the Commanders for Fansided. I'm not actually a Panthers fan. I just cover them. I'm a Vikings fan, actually. Got into football kind of around about the time Randall Cunningham and Randy Moss and everyone was coming up, Chris Carter, John Randall and all those. Fell in love with that team and been paying for it ever since. Been covering the Panthers for about, I think this is my fourth season now. Came in just before Matt Rule was hired. Haven't had much good to write about. And it doesn't look like that's going to be the case again this year. So yeah, that's about it for me.
Nice. I mean, I hope there's some optimism with the rookie quarterback. As you know, he's gonna have some growing pains throughout the season. So, but my first question is, what do you see so far with the rookie quarterback and the entire team in general?
I think he's come on with every game, to be honest. He's working kind of with one hand tied behind his back, really. The line hasn't really been performing that well. There seems kind of a real reluctance to open the scheme up for him. And his receivers, aside from kind of Adam Thielen, just aren't creating the separation needed. Thielen's playing really well, but I mean, the fact you've got a 33-year-old aging veteran as your wide receiver one is kind of not a good look right now. And on top of that, I mean, he's not getting any kind of help from the running game either, which is equally disappointing. He's making mistakes. He looked a little bit kind of lacking in confidence against the Lions before sort of coming on a little bit when the game was out of sight. I mean, you could say that was garbage time and stuff. His good completions late on, but he was hopefully that'll sort of build him up a little bit ahead of what is obviously another big test this weekend for him.
I mean, everything in due time, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I would assume that they're looking at this season as get better, the team is going to gel. So, it's just, then as they look at the team this year, they'll make adjustments and improve next year. So, what are you looking forward to this game? What is it going to take for the Panthers to try to win?
It's going to be very, very difficult, I would say, judging by what I've seen of Miami this year. Their speed is obviously phenomenal, as you probably are all too aware. Defensively, they can't stop the run, which is a real concern. I know there were rookies out, but I think Raheem Mostert is going to be the main difference maker early on, which is really kind of worrying every Panthers fan, really, because Ajay Rivera's defense has been pretty good in coverage, I've got to say. But their run stopping has been really inefficient. They haven't got a genuine nose tackle in the 3-4. Shy Tuttle's playing there at the moment, but he just doesn't look comfortable. He's more of a 3-4 end. But they kind of let Marco McCall go before final cuts and didn't really find a good enough player to replace him, which is a concern. I mean, what the Panthers have to do to win, I've absolutely no idea. They're just really up against it. I mean, they're lacking confidence. Just something's really amiss from top to bottom. The rotations aren't good enough. As I've stated before, kind of the protections just not what it should be. And they just seem really disjointed, and it's really disappointing, really, considering kind of the front office were promising kind of an NFC South title challenge in Bryce Young's first year, which is kind of writing checks that his players can't cash at the moment. So, I mean, if they can keep it within a score or two late, I mean, that's genuine progress looking at how the two sides are going at the minute.
Most certainly, man. And again, thank you for coming through as we kind of talk behind enemy lines, kind of get some more information about the Panthers. Chad, go ahead if you have a question.
Thank you again for giving us your time. Appreciate the great insight. Just wanted to know, are there any bright spots or any strong points of the team outside? I know you touched on the pass coverage, but if you could just detail maybe some players that have stood out this year or performed above expectations, in your opinion.
Yeah, Von Bell's been really good. The safety they got from the Bengals, he's been outstanding, especially with Xavier Woods being out for the last few weeks. He's the primary communicator now. With obviously they're missing Shaq Thompson as well, so he's kind of evolved into the communicator pre-snap, and he seems to be around the ball a lot. He's making plays, and he's been a fantastic addition for them. As I mentioned, Adam Thielen, he's been absolutely tremendous. People were kind of a bit worried about whether he'd lost a step or whatnot, but he's creating separation. He's provided a nice security blanket for Bryce, and he's literally the only wide receiver making things happen, really, which is a positive, but it's also disappointing from the team's perspective. I would probably say CJ Henderson's been a lot better than many expected as well. Obviously, a former first-round pick, he's had some real confidence issues in the past. There's been a few times where he's blown coverage and things like that, but overall he's been especially pleasing. And then Derek Brown on the D line, he's arguably the Panthers' best player at the moment. He is a phenomenal force. He hasn't got much around him on the defensive front, as I've mentioned, but he kind of absorbs double teams so well and can still make plays coming off him. So I'd say those players have been the bright spots.
This is totally probably not possible, or maybe in the quantum realm. Do you think that the Panthers would consider trading Brown for a pick, or you think he's essentially part of the future, a building block for the future?
Yeah, I don't think they'll consider trading Derek Brown.
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a lot of them that could go, because there's a lot of them that need paying at the in the not too distant future. But there was kind of two or three that Scott Fitterer didn't want to include in the trade package with the Bears for Bryce Young, number one. Brown was one, J.C. Horn was one, and Brian Burns was another one. I mean, whether they'll change their mind on Brian Burns the closer we get to the deadline, if they go kind of 0-6, and then if they lose to the Texans after the bye, I think the trade deadline is not too like a couple of days after that game. So, I mean, some big decisions are going to have to be made because they haven't got a first-round pick. They're giving up the first overall pick in 2024 as it stands right now, which I don't imagine they envisaged. Obviously, there's a lot of time to turn it around, but I would be gobsmacked, and I can imagine kind of the fury among the fans if Derek Brown even came up in conversations because he is the definition of a foundational piece on the defensive front.
Hey, Wally, what's going on, man? Go ahead and ask
Hey,
your
what's
question.
going on, bro? Bro, I appreciate, man. Appreciate the time.
Okay.
So I was asking, I asked earlier about your offense and apprentice in shambles. So is it the coaching? Is it the fact that those Brady players are still lingering? So Frank Reich has to get his players I know with us. Specifically with Vic Fangio and Mike, they wanted to get their own type of players. So is it maybe like this year you're looking at it as, even though you don't have a first round draft pick, but it's like a not much of a tank year, but you try to get your players and get your core back to maybe next season you really try to see if you pinpoint the players you don't have and you do need to make type of actual competitive team. I look at the Panthers as that. Am I wrong or is that far-fetched?
Not too far. I mean, there were a lot of personnel changes throughout the off-season. Obviously, DJ Moore's gone. Christian McCaffrey was traded before the 22 deadline. Dante Foreman left. They brought in a new tight end, Hayden Hurst, who's not actually been that involved. But, I mean, in terms of embracing kind of like a tank year or like a wait-and-see year, I mean, if they'd have outlined that from the start in some capacity, I mean, I think fans would have been more understanding of it. But the fact kind of general manager Scott Fitterer basically came out after they'd got Bryce Young and said, this is the QB and we are ready to kind of drop in a quarterback and take off to potentially making the playoffs and winning the NFC South. And you go from that to within 5-6 weeks being 0-6. Real questions about the play calling, the rotations when it comes to personnel during games, a hesitancy to kind of alter the scheme to fit Bryce Young's strengths. I mean, it's not hard to see why the fans are kind of really, really frustrated with how the direction things are going, considering like the kind of false promises they were sold before the season. So that's the most frustrating thing for me. I mean, if they'd have just come out and said we're growing, we're evolving, I mean that would have been one thing, and it's kind of understandable. I mean, Matt Rule left an ungodly mess behind, but for them to say that we're ready to take off and potentially make the playoffs to putting out this football product is absolutely a disgrace, really.
Oh man, sounds like tough times up in Carolina, man.
Yeah, it's been the way I started covering them 4 years ago.
Wow, man, that's crazy. So y'all don't have a first round draft pick next season?
No, we gave it. That was first round pick next year is going to Chicago. Second round pick in 2025 is going to Chicago. Obviously, they got DJ Moore, and obviously they got the 9th overall pick last year that Carolina had anyway for the kind of a pick swap with the one.
Yeah, first, go ahead.
So since you technically don't have draft picks per se, are you looking to acquire maybe expiring contracts for maybe later round picks? Do you think that might be something that the organization looks at doing? That way, you got to get a young kid something. You can't have them out there with nothing. You can look at what Chicago Bears did with Fields.
Yeah. I think they've got like 50 million in cap space next year as it stands now. And there's some decent wide receivers in free agency. I mean, Charlotte's not the kind of the most enticing place for free agents to come, so you'd have to overpay. There's a lot of players kind of with one or no more years left on their deals after this year. I mean, off the top of my head, there'd be kind of Terrace Marshall Jr., Jeremy Chin. But if they want their first round pick back, they're just going to have to trade Brian Burns, and that's the end of it. He's kind of their best pass rusher by far. He wants kind of probably in the region of like 25 to 30 million a year. Carolina's been reluctant to give him that so far. So no contract's been signed. So just wait and see. I mean, he's the only player you could realistically give up and get a first-round pick for. But aside from that, you're really kind of looking at late-round picks for expiring contracts, as you say, and whether teams would be actually interested in them the way some of them are performing is kind of another matter entirely. Sorry, I'm not normally a negative person. It's just this team brings it kind of out of me.
No,
and
I feel you. It
we've
was
been
like,
there before, man. We've been here
yeah,
before.
yeah, we've been there.
You
So, but
talking to the right franchise, man.
yeah, hey, but listen, that's interesting. You said he wants 25 with how Bosa set the market. That's not actually a bad deal. I mean,
No, I mean, I think the sums are like between 25 to 30. It's been touted around, but they've been really reluctant to kind of give him what he wants. And considering they turned down 2 first-round picks and a second from the Los Angeles Rams last year, they kind of don't have any leverage either, which is kind of a bizarre way to sort of go about it.
right, agreed. Go ahead, OG.
So my question is, I've been hearing from certain Panther fans that they don't think Frank Wright was much of an improvement of Matt Rule. Are you hearing there's issues with Frank Wright?
I think Frank Reich's taking a lot of heat for his coaches at the minute, especially when it comes to kind of in-game rotations. I mean, Terrace Marshall, for example, against the Vikings in week 4, he had 9 catches from 10 targets, and then he didn't play a snap last Sunday. Frank Reich said that was on him, but I mean, it's kind of pretty common knowledge that Sean Jefferson handles the wide receiver rotation. Same thing with the running backs with Deuce Staley. Chuba Hubbard's not been getting much of a look, even though he's kind of been running a lot better than Miles Sanders. And Frank Reich's taking the heat for that as well. So, I mean, it's not been a perfect start. I mean, I don't know how much the owner's having to do with it either in terms of throwing his weight around. I know he's known for it. People are kind of losing faith in his play calling. Obviously, with Thomas Brown there coming from Sean McVay's coaching tree, they want him to take the reins. But again, you don't know if Frank Reich's protecting him either, because this is not they're not very talented in personnel. They've got injuries. The offensive line isn't playing well. So, do you want Thomas Brown to kind of take over the play calling, struggle, and then his kind of own personal upturn, kind of his reputation takes a hit along the way? So he's a difficult evaluation at the moment, Frank Reich. It's hard, to be honest. I mean,
But if the season's going the way it's going, why not see if you can get a spark, like switch it up?
oh yeah, I get what you mean, but I mean, kind of the chances are they're going to be 0-6, barring kind of the league's biggest surprise result. So, and then they've got the bye. So I think the bye is where they're going to
tinker with it.
Yeah, take a good look at it and make the changes there. So they've got that time to kind of implement any fresh ideas, any kind of skill alterations, and go from there. I mean, to do it on a regular game week, I mean, that's hard enough as it is. But with the bye coming up, I would not be surprised to see kind of big changes.
No, you're right. That makes sense. You're right. That does make sense. I didn't know the bye was that close. So yeah, it makes sense.
5-7, probably
That
quite late.
that makes me feel like Seti get a little bit more extra work this week.
But like I say, it just depends on who plays. I know they had quite a long injury report today. Dante Jackson came back. He was full participant. He missed last week, and he's their quickest corner. So he'll likely go with Tyreek Hill. I mean, how much success he'll have, I don't know, but I mean, I'd be surprised if they didn't go that way.
I heard that y'all been trying to get a wide receiver. Do you think they do that before the deadline, or they just wait till the off season?
I think they'd be consider something, maybe Jerry Judy, Cortland Sutton, somebody like that, if they can get them for cheap. I mean, they'd be giving up that second round pick because it's pick 33 at the moment, and barring a miracle, they're going to be picking in the top 5 or 6. So I would be really kind of apprehensive about dealing that pick when you've got no first rounder. But if they can get Jerry Jeudy, kind of an 8 route runner with one potential for a third or a fourth rounder, I think you might want to pull the trigger on that one. But
you got a fourth rounder?
Yeah, they've only got 3 picks that are technically their own. They've got 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe 2 6s, I think, from because they traded.
I mean, Cedric Wilson and
They're
a
not.
5.
They're,
We
they're
swapped.
not. They're not gonna trade. Like,
You send away your hats off.
stop wasting these people's time, French.
Look at him like he controls the deal or something.
Yeah, like he like, oh no, let's give him Cedric Wilson,
Like he
because
tried to set him on Cedi. Like
I mean, a veteran wide receiver with only
what?
$2.2 million on the
For
cap
what? For what?
that can help your young.
No, yeah, French, yeah, sure. You're gonna sell a team that has a bunch of receivers that ain't panning out to get another receiver that hasn't panned out on another team. That's not a luxury they have, French.
If
and don't have a lot of picks at that. They're gonna
Yeah,
give up
bro.
another one.
I know you want to fleece people, though, but some people they're fleeceable, and some people are dumb. This will be a dumb. That'll be a dumb trade for them.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Talking specifically about like your the trench play. I'm really high on Zach Sealer.
Oh my
How's your interior, like your guard center guard combo right now?
they were much better against the Lions, I've got to say. Obviously, Chandler Zavala went down, had a really scary kind of neck injury. He was motionless on the field for quite a while, but he got all his feelings back in it. But he's not going to play this week. They'll probably go with, I'd imagine, Cade Mays, Calvin Throckmorton, who's actually been playing really well, and Bradley Bozeman at centre. I mean, it is what it is. It's not great. I mean, I don't know if kind of Austin Corbett will be ready for this week. I think it might be too soon. But the Panthers are missing both their starting guards from last season, which made them so successful alongside Bozeman. So that could be an area to attack.
Yeah, Dean. We want to make sure we want to say this that this is the NFL. Anything can happen. So even, we've been in that,
Oh, of course,
and
yeah.
yeah, where like the Patriots, sometimes we were assumed to be get beat by them, and we always give them issues. So just like how the Bills just dealt with that issue. Um, you never know. So you gotta we want to make sure that the team is focused and the team is not underestimating anybody moving forward. So I do see some bright spots, and if we lax or just be like coming in with arrogance like the Bills did, you know, you'll find yourself in a loss and second place. Just throwing it out there. But appreciate you, Cat Cray, for coming through. I don't know if you have any a couple more minutes to hang out with us and answer some more questions.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
So thank you, Cat Curry, for coming. I have a question. I'm trying to remember. So on the defensive side, I know like at both sides, yeah, dealing with things. Where would you say the strength is on your defense? Is it up front or is it your secondary?
If it was a choice between the two, it would probably be the secondary at the moment, as weird as that sounds. Just because aside from Derek Brown, the D-line is just not playing well. Deshaun Williams came over free agency. He had a career year with Avero at Denver last year, but he just hasn't seemed to be building on that at all, which has been disappointing. And as I mentioned before, Shai Tuttle's playing the nose, and he just doesn't look like a nose. He's not big enough. He doesn't hog enough space. There's no push. He's more suited to the 3-4 end, where kind of many fans thought he'd be playing, and then Marco McCall would be playing the nose, which was the unofficial depth chart in the preseason before the Panthers released him. So they haven't replaced him sufficiently, and that is kind of the most underrated problem this team's got at the moment, because teams are just running all over him. And unless that changes, it's hard to kind of set a tone defensively when the trenches aren't giving a good account of themselves. But Derek Brown on the front is obviously a different story.
Okay, thank you.
What is your prediction? What do you think the outcome might be at the end of the day?
I'm going to go 40-21.
Wow.
Let's go, Cat!
Hey
Hey
yo,
yo,
hey yo.
what are
Hey,
you
I'm
doing right
sorry.
now?
What's that? The Panthers do cat fever? Cat fever! Hey, that got me excited, Cat. Man, that got me excited. I
Hey
feel like it's going
yo.
to be a good game. Um, I'm interested to see how it all plays, man. I just hope that the organization and the team really backs this kid, man, because we all know kind of what this year looks like. Do you all think? Let me ask you this, because the Arizona Cardinals were projected to be the worst team in the NFL. Do you all think you all finished with a better schedule than the Cardinals?
They've got, I think after the bye, they've got 3 games which are going to kind of define how things are going to go for me. They've got the Texans and the Colts at home, and then they've got the Bears on Thursday Night Football after that. I mean, if they can't win any of those 3, I really, really fear for them. But there's a good chance they can kind of win 2 out of the 3, or maybe even all 3, depending on the adjustments that they make during the bye. The Colts aren't going to have Anthony Richardson either, so that's another positive. But those 3 games after the bye find the season for kind of Frank Reich. If they can win sort of 2 of them, maybe 5-6 wins is possible. But it's really hard to say with any conviction at the moment, just given how things have gone so far.
Yeah, with no first round pick, you don't care how many games I win or lose for real, really.
No thank you for Caleb this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. So, Cat Curry, we always do this with our guests. Carolina pulls the upset if they can do this. Fill in the blank.
um, hold the Dolphins under 21 points.
Mm.
Unlikely, but that's it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how they're going to stop it. It's kind of a juggernaut even without the rookie. But there's no expectations, so I'm expecting them to play with a bit extra freedom. If they're 0-6 at the bye, so what? I mean, they're 0-5 now. I mean, what they take in the grand scheme of things. So, I mean, just show some fight and play with freedom, and I just hope for the best after that.
Yeah.
Guys,
We,
teams with no expectations sometimes can be a dangerous team. So, like I said, we got to make sure to not
You
underestimate
know,
them. So,
and if a couple of things go their way early, who knows? But I mean, I wouldn't be putting any money on them. Put it that way.
mm.
I do wish you guys the best of luck. Just not this Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So,
Appreciate that, man.
Okay, Curry, I would tell you the difference. Being bad and you know you're bad, you can. It sucks, but you kind of it's easy to deal with. When you have expectations and you don't know and you haven't been there in a while, that's the nerve wracking. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
I think, like I said before, that I think that was the problem. They sold dreams of like contending, and they just haven't got the team for it, and that's why kind of fans are more frustrated than if they just said, "Look, we've got this first year quarterback. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be great, but we are building for the future." I mean, that would have been a lot better message to communicate than we're going to drop in a QB and take off.
yeah, we've been there. Are the fans divided on Young? Because dealing with Tua, we had what we had to deal with. How are the fan base as far as Young?
Like I say, whoever's kind of against him is just kind of pushing their own agenda. I mean, people just want to be right about a certain draft prospect rather than just get behind the guy they picked. I'd say the large majority are still behind Bryce. I mean, he's had 4 starts. I mean, he's missed 1 game, and he started 4. So, I mean, to make conclusions given all the factors around him in terms of the scheme and the offensive line missing their 2 key interior guards, um, the wide receivers that just can't get open. I mean, and tight ends just aren't getting involved. So, I mean, what rookie quarterback is going to put up numbers in that situation? So, people are just looking at things without context. And
Man, you speaking gospel right now. Oh my God, like
But
that's what we were dealing with.
But see, the reason why I asked that real quick, Jordan, because I was wondering, is the CJ Stroud, they in the same predicament? They new coach is terrible, roster, but they're showing signs. So I was just wondering, our casual fans, Cat Craig knows his football, he knows why they're having issues, but a lot of fans don't. So it be fans of the fan base don't understand that and just see what's going on in Houston and just think automatically that y'all should be doing okay. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, and I mean, to judge him after kind of 4 or 5 games is asinine to me. I mean, the Texans team have played open. They've got Nico Collins, they've got Tank Dell, they've got Dalton Schultz at tight end. I mean, they have got productive players. I mean, not throwing scrubs in Houston, CJ Stroud, and he's got a coordinator who's actually capable of scheming people open, whereas the Panthers are kind of lacking mention right now, which is why there's calls for Frank Reich to kind of get rid of the responsibilities of being a game day play caller and give Thomas Brown, who's obviously come from Sean McVay's staff on the Rams. He's got a big reputation as a future head coach, and it would be a surprise if his kind of schematic concepts weren't a little bit more innovative compared to kind of Reich, who's been around for quite a while, and it might be set in his ways. Who knows?
Before you go, you're a Viking, so I got to throw this little jab at you. How you liking Flores over there?
He blitzes a lot, doesn't he?
Oh man, you have no idea.
I,
Hey, that Craig, you crazy. Like, that for you to say the first thing to say, I Dolphin fans are laughing. Like, trust me. But
I've
go
also,
ahead.
I've never ever seen a coach blitz as much. Ever. I mean, I think it's up to like 74% of plays now where he's just blitzing. But to be fair, we've got corners who are kind of manning the outside pretty well at the moment.
So, like
But
I was gonna say, tell them to keep them hamstrings ready, because boy, they go he gonna wear them things out.
But Dean, my thing is, if you have a personnel like that you're not confident with, why are you keeping him on the island? I haven't watched the games, but he did that with our guys, and we had Josh Boyer who took that philosophy and just did that with guys that were injured, guys that were not good, and while we were aggressive and we hit on moments, there were times where teams adjusted so quickly it just left a wide open space of grass for players to run on and score points. So it's like it was too much.
yeah, there's a lot of that too. I'm not sure how things are going to go now. Justin Jefferson's gone on IR. If it was me, I'd throw in the towel, to be honest. But they've done this soft ass rebuild for years now, without sort of fully committing to it. And obviously, with Jefferson out and Cousins on his last year of his deal, I think this might be the time to kind of hit the reset button.
I'm sorry, Cat Craig, but I'm gotta clip that your response, because the Dolphin fans, bro, we say that and we just a hater on flow. Like, for you to come, that was too funny. I'm sorry. Man, because that's what was on our complaints. Then we kept Boyer, like Vince was saying, the host was saying, like, it was, oh, y'all just don't like Flo. And he, like, well, we tell her what we see. So hearing it from someone that has him over there, and for you to say the first thing, if your assessment of him is he blitzes a lot, don't he? That's hilarious. Right. Cat Cravey, do you have any questions or
Yeah, I was
anything?
gonna ask you that. Yeah.
How have you found kind of Mike McDaniel? Because obviously he came in, he was kind of a quirky mind from Kyle Shanahan's system, but he kind of his concepts are kind of borderline revolutionary to me. I mean, is it all to do with like the speed kills thing, or is it more to do with putting his guys in kind of the best positions to succeed?
I think whether slow or fast, he likes to put guys in space. So, what's the best? Who are the best type of receivers to be in space? Fast receivers. So he's using that concept he learned to incorporate with guys that are like have that top end speed. So, man, I gotta tell you, man, I just absolutely love Mike McDaniel based on our research and everything. So,
What I love about it is every week we see something new. Like he's not stuck and calling the same plays. He's not an OC. He looks for your weakness and he attacked it. Like with the Giants, I had watched the game before ours, and teams were having success outside. So Mike McDaniel abused that to death. Like he looks for things, and we haven't seen a offensive coordinator here like that in so long. So for me, it's just refreshing to watch our offense finally play like an offense and have purpose and trying to achieve stuff and execute. And so for me, I just love it. Like his press conferences. Hey, sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're long. But you know, coming from Flo, like you're a Viking fan, you if you watch Flo's presser, it's a complete 360, complete
Yeah,
360. So so it's refreshing on that end. But after a while, it gets like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Once the newness wore off, but you got to take the good with the bad.
I gotta take off now, guys. But thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.